Hi, welcome to We Are Cosmic Nature, the podcast. My name is Kelsey. Today we're going to be talking about the new moon solar eclipse in Aries happening on April 20th. And welcome to this space where we talk a lot about astrology, but all the branches in which that touches and the passions that I have within it, which often connect to self-empowerment and really living your best life, your most healthiest, happiest, prosperous life. So lots of discussion happening here. Thank you for listening. And I hope that my wild laundry machine is not picking up on this mic because my laundry is right beside where I am and it is aggressive. Okay. So welcome to eclipse season. This is, there's usually 2 eclipse seasons every year. And that's when we have a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. And sometimes they're partial or they're total, meaning that the entirety of the moon or the sun is eclipsed. And it's a beautiful astronomical event that happens, but the energy that it brings is big change or big breakthroughs or because we're dealing with the sun and the moon, which is the most personal planets that we have in astrology. The sun is your life force energy. It's who you are. And it's, the light you're here to shine on the world. And then the moon is your connection to yourself and to your body, to your emotions, even to your family, your roots. So it's very personal. And when those shadows, what happens is the earth and the sun and the moon all sort of align in a way that there's usually over an hour or two, there's like a shadow that either blocks the sunlight or the full moonlight. And it's really beautiful to watch, especially solar eclipses. I've seen a couple in the last few years. I guess the last handful of years, especially when I was following astrology, and actually like looking at the solar eclipse is they say don't stare right at it because the sun's rays are going to blind you. And maybe, but I've looked at it and I've been okay. I've looked at it with polarized sunglasses and also like tried to like just sort of blink really quickly so that I'm not like just staring at it. But you can see like it's really cool how you can see like there is a shadow and also just the fact that the actual sunlight gets like it gets darker. There was one solar eclipse that I watched in August. So that's a really hot summer day where I am. And all of the sudden, like I was at home, sort of kind of getting ready for work. And it was in the afternoon. And all of a sudden, I knew it was coming, but I was just witnessing how like it was so eerie how like this bright sunny day just wasn't as bright anymore. And like if you live somewhere like where I live, where there's seasons, you can tell how the sun is just not as bright in the winter. Like you just don't get as much vitamin D, and you don't get as much UV rays. Like we're tilted away from the sun, and it was very weird to experience that in the summer. And then the other time was I got up at 5 a.m. and I biked down to the lake because the sunrise is over the lake where I live. And and I watched it there, which was also very cool. So if you can watch it, I would encourage you to find if you'll be able to see it from your location. Not everywhere on earth will, but it's very, very cool to witness, and it kind of just makes you feel really connected to nature. It's and then there's other people that are looking at it too, and it just when these beautiful like things happen in nature, it's kind of humbling and grounding, and we're like, wow, it kind of takes you out of the busyness of life and all the to-dos that are happening in your in your life and in your day, and you just kind of marvel at nature. And it's a very calming experience, I find. So we have a new moon solar eclipse. So solar eclipses happen at a new moon. So new moons are sort of a period of going inward, sort of checking in with yourself, and um, having a moment of self-reflection. And then we add the eclipse to it, and we might be realizing or recognizing things about ourselves that we didn't know was there, or yeah, and also the fact that it's in Aries too at 29 degrees. So Aries in astrology rules the self. So it's very like personal, like check in with who you're showing up as. Like this is kind of like could feel like a bit of an ego death, to be honest. Like that's very connected to this energy, like a little bit of a personal, I don't want to say crisis, but just like, okay, how do I really want to show up this year? Like what's in alignment for me anymore? And being okay with that changing, and finding the comfort and the just sort of letting the changes happen. But I don't think it's gonna be so easy. And I say that because we've got this new moon solar eclipse squaring Pluto. And Pluto is the planet of transformation, and a square is kind of a tense energy. So I feel like we might be recognizing this new path that we're going on, but just feeling like we're still sort of holding on to the past. And Pluto is like, we got to let go of the past, we got to alchemize the past, we got to integrate the past, and we got to move forward. And then the eclipse is like, we're moving, but there's still just sort of this like holding on, you know, to what was, because like Aries can rule the ego, and the ego really likes patterns and less resistance to change. So it feels like there is changes happening within yourself, and I think if we can just let it happen. I can definitely see this in my own life. Sort of knowing what's coming ahead, and just like where I'm at, just taking this new direction, and I'm like trying my best to just flow with it, let life lead the way. And I think that, you know, when it comes to astrology, and when it comes to our cosmic nature and the planets and the cycles, like astrology is cycles. We're just looking at the planets like going around in there, like, you know, anywhere from like 2-year cycle to a 200-year cycle. Like they all have their own orbit around the sun, and that's just the natural flow of life. Like that's just how it is. And we have our own cycles, and the planets, like it's really all related. You know, your cells have their own cycles. Like I think I may have said this before, but it's something like you get a whole new set of cells every 7 years or something. Like you don't have any of your cells that are the same anymore. I mean, don't quote me as some sort of science about just the rejuvenation, the death and rebirth of our own cells within our human body, right? Like they have their own life cycle. So I think it's really helpful to sort of look at the astrology, and it's kind of a reminder of like, oh, okay, like I can trust these cycles and let them happen. I have the capacity to do it, doesn't mean it's easy. And that Aries energy that we're in is kind of like, you know, Aries is very focused and determined, and if something's not going your way, it can feel frustrating, but maybe there's a higher plan here. So I also pulled a tarot card as usual, and I pulled the King of Pentacles, which is like such a beautiful card to pull for this energy. So I think it's like this card really represents success and like really achieving great things, and like finally receiving the things that you've been working on or asking for. And if there's something you are currently working on, like just really have a plan for it. And why this one came up for this particular moon cycle, I think really has to do with letting this rebirth happen, like letting yourself experience the success or the fulfillment or the prosperity or the achievements, the goals that you've been working towards. And sometimes it's a new version of yourself that needs to emerge in order to actually receive those things. So letting go of the victim, letting go of your old thought patterns, letting go of your old identity that wasn't, achieving the things that you wanted. Like, you started somewhere and you asked for something. And now it's about really lining up the energy with this new version of yourself who has accomplished whatever it is you want to accomplish. It doesn't have to mean that like it's this big thing. Like, maybe you just wanted to accomplish like renovating a room in your house or something. And just really putting in the effort or celebrating the efforts that got you to where you are, and just complete the thing. Like, just, like manifest, like literally just like line up with this next version. I mean, it's wonderful, a wonderful card. So even if the change isn't easy, it's worth the effort to become that next version. And I'm even noticing this in myself of like just the thought patterns of, oh, it just, this never works out because this is and this. It's so easy to fall back on these old ways of thinking. But can you just try, like this is what I'm telling myself, like just try to like actually look yourself in the mirror and give yourself that self-love, even if it sounds stupid. You're like, oh, it's stupid, like I should just, like, let me just skip that meditation or skip that personal practice or skip like trying to look at this from a different perspective, because it's easier to stay the same. And I think that little bit of effort to bring ourselves to this next version that is happy and prosperous and successful and whatever it is, we have to kind of give it a little effort to get there, and just like trust yourself and believe it and allow it. So happy eclipse, super exciting. And we're moving towards a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. So I look forward to sharing the information on that. And yeah, send me a message. Let me know how this moon is feeling for you, how this month is feeling for you, and any questions you have, happy to answer. And I hope you have an amazing new moon solar eclipse. We'll see you soon.